Podcasting's recent growth spurt has resulted in a concentration of benefits at the top. But many mid-level podcasters are seeing more opportunities. Not surprisingly, not all are worthy of a yes. Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. Podcasting is growing big time. Podcast Index is tracking close to 4 million podcasts, nearly 250,000 of which published episodes in the last 10 days. More articles are being written about podcasting in mainstream media. We're seeing more consolidation internally to podcasting, plus a lot of companies on the outside investing money to get in. Now, that means opportunities are abundant. But should you get... Hang on. I'm about to sneeze. Oh, sorry. I just got this horrible sneeze. I'm halfway through my opening. Okay, let that not happen. We're going to do that again. Allie, apologize. I'm going to remember where this is when I finally do the edits. But, goodness, that was too much ginger in the nose. This, by the way, is a great thing about podcasting. Not so much the live stuff, which is why the live stuff for me is more fun and fun for you. Thanks for joining me as I get through this. All right. I think that tickle is gone. Oh, that's what I did wrong. So here I am. One of the reasons I also is funny because I saw a weird word. Totally. All right. Reset. Podcasting's recent growth spurt. If I lost it now, got it. All right. Yeah, that's where I was. Podcasting's recent growth spurt has resulted in a concentration of benefits at the top. But many mid-level podcasters are seeing more opportunities. Not surprisingly, not all are worthy of a yes. Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. Podcasting is growing big time. Podcast Index is tracking close to 4 million shows, and nearly 250,000 of them have published episodes in the last 10 days. There are more articles being written about podcasting in mainstream media, more consolidation internally is happening in podcasting, and companies outside of podcasting are investing money to get in. Now, that means more opportunities are abundant. And of course, you should totally get yours by saying yes, quite a lot. But as you and your podcast and the space itself continues to mature, it's important to know when to say no. Like last week, for example, I passed on a deal, sounded very promising, right in my wheelhouse, all the things were right, but the client had a very unrealistic timeline. Like, really unrealistic timeline. So I passed. Someone else will pick it up and do it and crank something out very quick for them, but it's not the thing, it's not the type of work I want to do at that pace. It just won't be as good as it could have been. You, probably like me, have noticed that guest pitches by guests, pitches by PR companies who want to be a guest on your podcast, whether you have interviews or not, they're increasing in a big way. And what I've also noticed is that the PR peeps who are sending out these, hey, would you like to have my client on your show? They are getting way better at inflating the guest's profile to us podcasters. And also promising, big promises of success. But we're not dumb. We should not be fooled by that. Because getting a big guest on your show, or even deciding, yes, I don't do interviews, but I will because this big person wants to be on my show, well, remember, any big bounce you get from your guest is likely just that. It's a bounce. Not a lot of it sticks around. So Make sure you're doing what's right for you. More companies are now experimenting in podcast advertising, which is benefiting podcasters at all levels. Just recently, I got a pitch for a few of the shows that I rep, and I don't do that as a full-time thing. I got a pitch by an advertiser to put some ads on the shows I work with, and it was for an extremely niche B2B software component, which had absolutely no business being advertised on the podcast that I represent. And they wanted a host endorsement nonetheless. We might have considered doing it if it was a programmatic deal, but it's just not worth the potential damage to the reputation of the host by recommending something that clearly they've never, ever used. And I don't want future campaigns to perform less well because we took one single opportunity. Conferences and workshops are just flying into podcasting now, and they're all looking for people to present. And I won't disagree, being in a workshop or at a conference, presenting there is a great way to boost your profile. But there's also an unfortunate way to be guilty by association. How much vetting can you do for these people that want you to speak at their event and deliver a workshop? I'm sure you're going to do a great job, but what about everybody else? What's the underlying motive? What's the makeup of the people who are there, and how will that look? More importantly, how full is your calendar right now? Can you fit it? Maybe not. Collaboration efforts are also increasing. People want to do more stuff. Now, generally speaking, as you know, I'm a big fan of collaboration. I suggest it almost every time at the end of the show. I say, get with another podcaster and talk about this. And I want to do that. But I also understand that really can stretch you and me and everybody way too thin. Or you may find that the collaborator you're working with or want to work with, they have a different energy level than you, maybe more, maybe less. And if they have more than you, do you want to be that guy who stands up with his hands in his pocket during the group presentation? Probably not. Now, you may find this odd coming from me, the dude who preaches the gospel of approaching podcasting with an abundance mindset. But weirdly, I think this idea of saying no actually plays into that. If you treat these opportunities, or so-called opportunities that come to you, as abundant assets, not scarce ones, then you start to look at these opportunities differently. Yes, by all means, you should examine the opportunity, take a few minutes to read the email and see if it's right, but don't worry about giving it a pass if it's not ideal for you. Because you have an abundance mindset, that means another deal will come along presently. And if anything continues the way it's been tracking right now, much more frequently. Next week is the final 4 episodes of Podcast Pontification Season 3. Wow. Also next week, people who have subscribed to Podcast Pontifications in your inbox, that's the newsletter I send out every day, are going to get a sneak peek of some Season 4 changes. Oh, also, I'm just a handful of subscribers away from the magical 300 subscriber numbers. Ooh! So I'd love to see it tick to that number by the time I go on break at the end of May. So again, podcastpontifications.com, and enter in your email address, and you'll get an expanded and a more polished version of the rough draft I'm delivering to you right now. And I also appreciate all of the new people who have purchased a membership at buymeacoffee.com/evoterra. Membership just means I get a recurring coffee from them every single month. If you'd like to do that as well, I'd certainly be grateful. As you know, there are no episodes from me about Podcast Pontifications on Fridays. Not yet, at least. So enjoy your weekend. I shall be back on Monday with yet another Podcast Pontifications. Cheers!